What do you do when you thought you were supposed to be dead, but the pills didn't work? What do you do? Do you just walk through life like nothing happened? Do you go through day by day with all of the thoughts in your head locked away in a jar, a container, closed tight, where nothing can get in or out, not even another person to help you through this pain? Do you walk through the next few years or however many years you have of your life left, holding that pain inside, fighting it on your own, thinking that you're worthless, you're not worth it, unbearable feelings of pain and hopelessness? That's no doubt what led you to the attempt of lifelessness, the attempt of no longer breathing in and breathing out, the attempt of not being here anymore, being 6 feet under, the attempt of the S word that no one talks about much until it happens. You attempted with the pills, but it didn't work. What are you going to do with your life now? What have you done with your life now? I know I'm not the only one. There's more people, many more people out there that have done the same thing, but many didn't survive. So what does that mean? What does that mean for me? What does that mean for you? For me, it meant that God had a purpose for me, that He was not done yet, that His orders had not changed. The rules had not changed. The purpose had not changed. And if you're out there and you're struggling and you're fighting with that same thing, that means God is working on you. Something is working in you because He still has you here. So how do you pick up the pieces? How do you pick up the pieces? And the way I picked up the pieces, it was definitely not the right way. So this is to encourage someone to not go the wrong way, but always go the right way. And that right way may mean therapy. That right way may mean actually speaking to someone, because I can guarantee you, holding all of that inside, even with the loving family and loving friend and loving church family, you still get to a point to where you think that you can't confide in anyone about the pain that you are going through. And this was a pain that was teenage years to adulthood. So imagine fighting that pain. And when the teenage years, when it was going on and you felt that unbearable feeling of pain and hopelessness that led to the attempt of suicide, that S word that we don't want to talk about, then what do you do after the survival? The talk, the looks, the stares, the beating you down mentally that led to that suicide. Are you grateful that He saved you? Because it was only by the grace of God that you're still here when the pills didn't work. And only by the grace of God, no one knew of that attempt. Because maybe you were one of those children that always had stomach problems. So the vomiting and the throwing up and the sickness, there was nothing new for you. There was nothing different, because that was a normal thing for you. So when you got sick with that, after waking up thinking that you were supposed to be dead, but you were still here, you ended up just being sick at the stomach. But what was that? That was God mixing that medicine, that devil, that pills that were inside of you, mixing it up, and then pouring it out of you, so that He could get you through the process that He needed you to go through. And believe me, a process takes time. Just like when you're making a cake, it's a process, right? We can't just put the flour and all the eggs and the vanilla flavoring and whatever may go into that cake. We can't just put it all in a bowl and then put it in the oven, right? No, we've got to do some mixing. We've got to do some cracking. We've got to do some stirring. We've got to do some beating until we get to that process to where it's smooth and ready to go in that pan and into the oven, right? So God has worked that thing out for you. So he's leading you through. He's leading you through this process. And you may have had to go through that process of that attempt to end that life that you thought was worthless. But it wasn't. But then after you got over that sickness, because it is a sickness, you had to go through still to get past all of that. And you may have ended up married with a family like I did, and you still fighting battles, fighting lust, fighting all of these things that you thought could heal your mind, heal your soul. And all the while, you're in ministry as well, fighting against where God was trying to lead you. What do you do when the pills didn't work? You keep fighting. That's the answer. You keep fighting. And it's not going to be an easy fight. It's not going to be a happy-go-lucky fight every day. All of these thoughts that are in this jar, that you kept in this jar, which is your mind, you have to release them. You have to release them. You have to release them. Release them until there's nothing left but the mindset of God. That positive mindset to where when you look at that jar that you kept all that stuff bottled up in, it's empty now. And you have release and you have joy, true joy, to where you're not fighting those thoughts anymore. You're not trying to walk away from what God has called you to. You're not trying to negotiate with God that you don't need to be here. You don't deserve to be here. You are not qualified. God, you did not call me for this. No. You're released. Yes. Yes, the pills didn't work. The pills didn't work. Thank God the pills didn't work. So what do you do when the pills didn't work? And you thought you were supposed to be dead. You survive. You survive. You get the help you need. Don't be like some, me included, that suffer in silence. And you walk around with that smile every day. But on the inside, you're suffering in silence because you still have the mindset that you don't deserve to be here. But that's not what God says. God has a purpose for you. God has a calling on your life. But he wants you to trust in the process. And you will have to go through some pain, some struggles, some envy, some jealousy, trials, triumphs, uphills and downhills, valley moments. Some of those valley moments will be really, really low, and you think you're not going to be able to get up out of them. But trust the process. Trust God's process, and everybody that God has in your life, throughout your life, is not meant to go with you as he elevates you higher and higher to the calling he has on your life. So don't think when you lose people out of your life that it's something meant to hurt you, when in fact it's something meant to help you and push you forward and continue to release you from the things that may be holding you back. What do you do when they didn't work? When the pills didn't work and you thought you were meant to be dead? You survive. You survive. You survive.